Welcome back into American Agenda. Obviously, we are all heartbroken over what has happened in Texas, but to make this political, I'm not shocked the left is trying to place President Trump and his administration in some way, blame them. Immediately after the president does anything, or in some cases, things that are completely out of his control, left-wing media Democrats, they look to try and spin it against him. We've seen it happen time and time again. But the segment really today, not really about that. What I want to look at, some of the posts on social media coming out, and they are appalling. Here are some of them up on your screen from this guy. Texas got what it deserved and voted for. Here's another. I don't feel bad for you, Ted. Texas deserves everything it gets for electing down like you and Trump. We have more. Texas deserves everything that happened to it for allowing Ted Cruz and Abbott to keep getting elected. Sorry, not sorry. Last one here. Texas had no reason to complain. Red Texas is getting exactly what Texas voted for. In Texas, buck up. This is just the beginning. That's sick. This goes beyond political. This is disgusting. We're talking about dead Americans, many of whom are children. Many families are never going to be the same. They're going to have to live with this grief forever. We have people on social media cheering it on. So I got to ask the question, is that where we are now? Based on who you vote for, which political party you align with, it's now okay to root for people to die. Because that's what's happening. A Houston pediatrician named Dr. Christina Probst, she got fired after posting this. May all visitors, children, and non-MAGA voters and pets be safe and dry. Kerr County MAGA voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts. Well, guess what now? That practice where she used to work released this statement. This past weekend, we were made aware of a social media comment from one of our physicians. The individual is no longer employed by Bluefish Pediatrics. As we previously mentioned in our original statement, we strongly condemn the comments that were made in that post. It's also not just your local doctor. Even Democrat Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut, he's jumping in on this. Here was his post about it. Quote, accurate weather forecasting helps avoid fatal disasters. There are consequences to Trump's brainless attacks on public workers like meteorologists. Well, when it comes to meteorologists there, CBS had on Tom Fahey. He's the legislative director for the National Weather Service Employees Organization. Here's what he had to say about it.
Forecasters did their job. There's very few times when I'll be in a position that I have to agree with the President of the United States when he spoke last night that the forecasters at the National Weather Service offices at San Angelo and San Antonio got the forecast right. The President said they did their job, and they did.
Okay, there's also this. Jason Runyon, he's a meteorologist with the National Weather Service. He told AP that the NWS office in New Braunfels, which delivers forecasts for Austin, San Antonio, and the surrounding areas, had extra staff on duty during the storms. Easy to point fingers. I'll remind you of this disaster, the wildfires in Maui, Hawaii, Lahaina, back in 2023. Did Democrats and left-wing media place the blame on President Biden when at least 102 died there? Or place the blame on emergency officials after investigations found no evidence that Hawaii officials made preparations for it? Or did they place blame after it was found the heads of the County Emergency Management Agency and the Maui Fire Department were off island that day attending conferences in Honolulu despite the risks? I don't think they did. You know, Hawaii went for Joe Biden in the 2020 election, but I don't remember anyone celebrating the fact that that happened or that people lost their lives in their homes. I've often said the left and their hatred for President Trump has blinded them from common sense. And so now we're seeing social media posts celebrating a major tragedy in our country, which has left many dead, including children. Back with me on set, Melissa Francis, along with Emmy and Peabody Award-winning journalist Geraldo Rivera.
Hey, Bob.
Good to see you.
Melissa.
Geraldo.
Good to see you both.
Yeah, I'll let you react to what I just laid out there and just your thoughts generally on the kind of response we've seen from some on the left, some Democrats, some media.
It's just low down and dirty and unnecessary. You know, as the father of 5, including 3 daughters, I can't get the image of the 27 little girls who perished, terrorized during the flooding at Camp Mystic. And what I think of the most is that fellow Dick Eastland, the camp director, kind of like the captain going down with the ship, he and several of his colleagues losing their lives attempting to save those little girls. I agree with you absolutely, Bob, about the forecasts. By all indications, they got it right. It was an extraordinary storm, a 100-year storm, they call it. The river rising from 1 foot to 36 feet in a matter of an hour or so. It was just horrible horrible what happened, and to politicize it makes no sense at all. It doesn't help anybody, doesn't help cure the problem. If the forecasters had it right, what about the people who didn't vote to put sirens in to warn people in the chronic flood area the way they have them in Tornado Alley? I just think that what we need now is not to politicize these tragedies, but to work together to see, Bob, that they don't happen again.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we had our meteorologist Amy Metz on yesterday, who talked about the fact that two tropical storms, or tropical storm-like rain from both the Gulf and the Pacific, merged right over that area. And we know when they stall how much rain it can bring, and it did. Melissa, your thoughts on so many, including a doctor, a pediatrician, who was saying, hey, they got what they deserve. That's insane.
Well, I found that one to be the most shocking, because obviously this is somebody who's taken an oath to save lives, to
especially
do more
children,
help and to not harm, and especially children. So I thought that one was the most shocking. I also think, this is kind of in the age of social media, why maybe we don't need social media.
Cool.
Maybe we spend less time on there, that people feel like this is a place to go on and to just let loose on such venom. And oftentimes it's things that people wouldn't say to other people's faces. But this is absolutely one of the reasons why you say, don't read the comments. I never read the comments underneath when people write mean things about a tragedy, about dead children. It's really one of the most horrific things I've seen.
Yeah, it's hard to read that and know that people are actually thinking that and celebrating it here. I want to bring this up. So we have a Texas State Representative, Wes Verdell. He was in the area. He gave a local interview. And I just want to make this clear about the alarms or what was forecasted, and quick to point blame. He even stressed an alarm system may have not helped much in this instance, because the floodwaters, they came so quickly between 2 and 7 a.m. The Guadalupe River in Kerrville rose from 1 to more than 34 feet in height, according to the flood gauge in the area. Again, Geraldo, you're talking about a 100-year storm. Why do you think in media, and I know other outlets, they were so quick, maybe the next day, in next hours, it wasn't even a day, for them to jump on the Trump administration for this? I don't think that's fair.
Well, obviously, DOGE and the cutbacks in government, various services, and the USAID and et cetera, has been in the news. So I can see how you could leap to an assumption.
Sure.
But before you open your mouth, you check a couple of facts, and you investigate your assumption. The road to hell is lined with assumptions. And I think that it's time that we cool our jets. Really, this is all, like at 1 o'clock, the cell phone warnings went off. So first of all, a lot of people don't have cell phone service in this area. A lot of folks are asleep. They turn the warnings off, and a lot of people, let's face it. I mean, here I'm in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. We get the warnings. Even I get the warning of severe weather coming off the Great Lakes, and you're warm. You're in your bedroom. You're really going to move. It's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to be the person victimized by it. It's human nature. That's why I like the idea of the sirens. When I grew up on Long Island in New York, they had the volunteer fire department all had the sirens, and when there was an emergency, the sirens would sound. They probably still do. I haven't checked recently, but I remember catching my awareness, my attention, because it's so extraordinary. They did it at noon, and then whenever there was something happening. Yeah, maybe they could have a system where I'm not certainly no expert, but they sound the alarm and then beep it 5 times if it's really severe, 4 if it's less severe. Once, something. Do something. I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's good enough to rely particularly on those high-tech warnings. You've got to deal with human nature as it is and do the best you can. And
I can certainly agree on. I think we all can that analyze this and see what you can do better, because this can't be the outcome, obviously. And the other thing I want to make mention, too, the National Weather Service, the meteorologists, a lot of them have pushed back that they were extra staffed for this exact event. They put out the 12 hours ahead of the flood, their first warning in Kerr County. And, it's funny that if the precipitation doesn't come as heavy as they thought it might, then they get pushed back on that just as well for ruining people's plans. It's really a thankless job, but obviously a big mess here, and some despicable things that I think we've seen on social media and on the news here. All right, got to leave it there. Melissa, Geraldo, I appreciate
Okay.
you both. Thanks for coming
My
on.
pleasure. My pleasure. Good seeing you, Melissa.
Good to see you, Geraldo.